So I'm fairly certain I'm going to be completely behind the news cycle on this one, as you've come to expect from this channel if you've been following for any long period of time. I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to say anything relevant than edit the video in time to get it out before everything's just moved along once again. I'm sure by the time that this video comes out, it'll be completely obscured by the fact that Donald Trump and or Elon Musk will have done or said something absolutely outlandish and insane. Don't worry folks, there was no list, and in fact you were Jeffrey Epstein all along. Yes, you were. But in case you've been living under a rock, essentially what's happened is somebody's used Suno or one of the other AI music generating platform things to come up with a band, and they've put them on Spotify and they've got loads and loads of streams. Some people are saying they've got close to like 400,000 streams on Spotify, which is a fair chunk of change, and that number keeps swelling as time goes by. So I've watched some really nice commentary on this from Rick Beato and Jared Dines, in fact, and they're basically covering all the main basic talking points that I think a lot of us have come to expect whenever the topic of AI in general gets raised. And every other video that I've seen on the topic seems to just be parroting the same talking points over and over again, and I kind of want to just progress the conversation along a little bit, and it's definitely not because I can't be bothered doing a proper piece of content and just want to rant to the camera for a few minutes instead. That's definitely not the reason. So as usual with this thing, it comes out and everyone's like,
oh my god, can you believe it? It sounds so real.
I can't believe people are consuming this. Aren't you afraid that in 5 years time it's going to sound even? It's like, no, not even a little bit, because that sounds like deep fried ass to me. That is awful. My god, there's artifacts everywhere. The songwriting's just completely bland. The instruments don't even sound like real half the time. Oh yeah, but Rob, in 5 years time it's gonna be completely unrecognizable, and then what are we gonna do? People are just gonna start consuming it. It's like, who cares, man? People have been consuming awful music for like the past 2 decades. There is no further bedrock, okay, underneath this well of depravity that we found ourselves in with modern music. I'm telling you, there's nowhere else left to go with this. Oh my god, just think back to it, you know, think back to the 90s, you got like Aqua, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, whatever the hell this shit is. If you get down on me, I'll get down on you. And it's just like, you know, if people are already consuming that, then it's not a far cry to think that they're going to be consuming some AI generated music. And for me, I think this is the crux of the issue. The only people who care about music are people who care about music.
Profound.
When you live in a consumer capitalist society, everything is up for consumption, and music is no different. People don't see it as an art form or a craft necessarily. They see it as something to put on while they're doing the dishes, or I don't know, to get ready for a night out. You know, I hear music sometimes and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! That has been crafted like almost purposefully to target the demographic of like the lowest common denominator. It's so bad that the only people who would even find it remotely palatable are those individuals who are already like so far in the rabbit hole of listening to just like pop, slop, garbage music that they wouldn't care anyway. So then the flip side of this argument is, okay, well, is this endangering bands and real artists and stuff like that? And it's like, well, you know, maybe on some level there's no artist development or anything like that, but that, again, that's been gone for ages now. Small time artists will have to develop themselves via independent media now from now on, and it isn't just AI that's been responsible for that. This has been the trajectory that we've been on again for the past like 2 decades. The only other people who are out there still doing the things are like legacy artists. And how do we get legacy artists? Well, I mean, somebody in the industry somewhere, whether it's a consumer or somebody high up, has to care at least a little bit to start like creating these artists and building them back up from small seeds. There are still new artists that are being developed right now. Off the top of my head, what about bands like Spiritbox, or I guess a little bit older now, but Polyphia? There's still appetite for real music and real artists doing real things. I mean, yeah, okay, of course, in the online streaming world, these AI artists are always going to have an advantage, or rather, should I say, those who want to implement that kind of stuff are always going to have a massive advantage because they can just flood the zone endlessly. But are you telling me people in 5 years time, 10 years time still aren't going to be interested in going to see live artists? That's what you do when you actually love music. You buy into something that's far greater than just the singular product that's being generated. Would you rather go and see Deftones, or would you rather go and see some like holographic AI generated slop, whatever the hell crap, to try and circumvent having to pay artists in 5-10 years down the line? You tell me.
You know what I do when I feel completely unoriginal?
What's this?
I know which one I'd rather pick. I'll tell you another thing as well. I'm not ever going to stop making music because some robots are doing it, alright?
Ooh, you're hard showing off.
And anybody who's a creative, I'm not just talking about musicians here now, knows exactly what I'm talking about. To create learn, craft something, really work hard at something is fundamentally the human experience. It's completely inseparable from our DNA as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, doomsday scenario, the AI is so good that it can mimic expressions of human emotion so well that people can literally not tell the difference, and it's indistinguishable. I'm still going to be here practicing arpeggios. Creation as a human endeavor completely transcends this idea of generating consumables en masse. I mean, I'm saying all this now and just my luck, I'll be put in one of those little pod things that you see in the Matrix where I'm just turned into goo and, you know, used as batteries for the AI to produce things that I don't see many people talking about. As with any other technology, it's basically impossible to put the lid back on this genie bottle that we've opened. It's here to stay. Whether or not we ever should have begun on this path in the first place is a completely different question, and maybe we never should have, but we have, and now we're here. AI seems to be inevitable in some capacity. I'm not sure it's going to be this world-changing thing that they're all talking about. What the hell do I know? Once you've reasoned from first principle, it becomes very, very obvious that the only other thing that you can do is just coexist with it, create alongside it. And as I say, the only people who are gonna actually consume this kind of stuff are the people who are already consuming the terrible, terrible music of the past 2 decades anyway. There's nothing to worry about. You know, we can make a machine that can like lift 600 kilos off the ground or whatever. That doesn't make it any less impressive when you see a human being doing it. It's like, oh, well, you could have got a crane to do that. Like, yeah, that's not the point, man. And it's the same with music. You can get a machine to play things 100 times faster, smoother, more articulate or whatever than I ever could. It still doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe people just need to chill out, or maybe I need to chill out a bit. Somebody needs to chill out, that's for sure. And then I've just got 2 more things I want to say about it. Well, firstly, a lot of people are saying stuff like, oh, well, don't you think it's terrible that it's kind of basically just an amalgam of everyone else's music, and it's just, you know, that's copyrighted material. It's pulling it all together, and then it's producing something that often sounds, you know, disturbingly close. And like, yeah, of course I am, but I don't know, man. I feel like we should have stopped that way back in the day. I feel like that's something that, you know, the suits are gonna have to figure out. Maybe the record labels are gonna have to start throwing around lawsuits saying, hey, listen, this AI is clearly trained on data from our artists. That belongs to us, or that belongs to the artist or whatever. That needs solving. That is a bad thing for sure. But then I hear people are like, oh, it isn't it disgraceful that somebody's done this and is making loads of money off it? I'm like, no, man, no.
What's the matter? I thought you liked pork.
No, what the hell are you talking about? People sell drugs to make money in this society. People do heinous shit to make money in this society because that's the society that we've created, right? So many levels far removed from this idea of like consumer capitalism that you go, hang on, wait a minute, this might be kind of wrong over here. It's like, bro, it was wrong over here, right? We should do something about this thing. Somebody typing some prompts into an AI generator, I don't know, it just seems really hard to condemn as like some moralistic thing when, as I say, you know, you got people fighting wars and, you know, killing innocent people and all this terrible stuff. Somebody's just trying to make a bag, you know, to survive because it's absolutely bleak out here. Maybe that person is a musician themselves and they want some money so that, like, you know, they've got time to practice and actually make things that they want to do, so they're just doing this on the side. I'm completely sympathetic to that, to be honest. And this brings me on to a final point. If we're really not happy with how this is going, there are things that we can do to change it. It's going to take a really, really deep, fundamental re-examining of basically everything that's going on right now and how wealth is generally distributed, in my opinion. I'll leave that up to Gary's economics to talk through as I'm rapidly approaching being out of my depth here on these talking points.
I want your viewers to ask themselves, do I feel the richest I've ever been? Because I tell you who's the richest they've ever been, me, and probably you, and Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. And in my opinion...
But what we value starts with the individual. If you want people to stop listening to AI music and to really appreciate, you know, artistic merit and all the rest of it, well then, that's on all of us to try and shift the zeitgeist in that direction. By the time this video comes out, I will have hopefully seen Matteo Mancuso live at a jazz festival. There is nothing replacing that for me or anybody else. I don't care if you make an AI version of Matteo who can do all the licks and sound great. I'm still gonna listen to him. I'm still gonna put my focus and attention on him because that is what I value, and we've made a decision to choose that as something valuable. Ultimately, that's where we need to drive things. If we don't want this thing to become massively widespread, maybe we need to start, like, you know, embedding appreciation for creative people, which, again, good luck.
We're running out of time.
I don't want to end on a low note like that though. I want to, I want people to realize that like it's in your hands. You can move things in any direction. Keep making art and keep appreciating real art from real artists, and it's as simple as that. And this AI thing won't ever get a look in, or at least it won't ever get a look in any meaningful way with those people who already appreciated music. People who listen to Pitbull and think, oh, that's my guy. I mean, they're fucked.
Being bada boom, Mr. Worldwide, when I step up in a room, darling.
They can enjoy the AI music, all right, but for the rest of us, I can't say that. I don't want to be disparaging, but seriously, hello, me again. Just wanted to jump in really quickly here and say I do fully comprehend that I sound like a bumptious, caustic prick throughout this whole thing when I'm talking about what music is good music, what music is bad music. Just wanted to say really quickly, like obviously, you can like any kind of music that you want. There are no gatekeepers, there are no arbiters of what constitutes real music and what constitutes, stuff that you like. If it sounds good to your ears, it is good, and that's all there is to it. I just like saying mean stuff sometimes because it sounds quite funny. But I suppose really what I'm trying to say is, imagine there are 3 types of person. So you got person A, and that person really enjoys music that is raw and it's pure, and the only like indie artists and real people that they can actually hang out with and all the rest of it, and they're completely obsessed with the idea of loving music because it's an art form. But you got nothing to worry about with that person because they're never going to fall for the AI thing. Then I say you've got a second kind of person, and this person, this is where I'm kind of coming from. They love music as a pure art form as well, and they're going to see bands and artists that play live, big or small, and they really like care about the art, and will purchase albums and blah 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 blah, really follow musicians to the grave, but also can enjoy music just as a commodity. We'll put on 2-hour rain sounds or whatever. Again, you don't really have anything to worry about for that person because they're in the same kind of camp. They will still support real artists. But then there's the third type of person, and they don't care about music as an art form whatsoever. They couldn't care less. They only care about music in as much that it is a commodity, something to be consumed, right? That person may just rapidly consume AI art and won't really care about real musicians, so to speak. But what I'm saying is like that person has always existed, and that person's been with us for a hell of a lot longer than the time that AI has been around. The AI phenomenon is just the latest fly in the ointment, in my opinion. Anyway, back to the video. Focus your love and your energy and your attention on what we can control, which is making beautiful art and kind of like developing a sense of appreciation or a culture of appreciation. It'd be great if we could set up better platforms that really supported actual human independent artists from the get-go, but I think that's a topic for an entirely different video. There's not enough time to cover it here. I want to know what your thoughts are on all this stuff. Leave a comment down below what you think about AI music, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.